And welcome back to centralcoastradio.com. Well, now I want to take a look at a film I think is going to be one of the most underrated movies of this year. The film is called The Tank, and it is a great horror thriller that has come from director Scott Walker. Now, you may remember I was a bit of a fan too of Scott's film, The Frozen Ground, that came out a number of years ago now, and I've kind of been excited to see where he was going to go next in his career, and I've got to say, I really, really like The Tank. Now, this is a film that revolves around a family made up of Father Ben, played by Matt Whelan, Mother Jules, played by Luciane Buchanan, and their daughter Rhea, played by Zara Nussbaum. Now, they are struggling. They are trying to run a pet store, but it is getting far too busy for them. But also, apart from that, they also don't have the cash to expand the business the way that they want it to do. But then all of a sudden, they receive a visitor one night, a lawyer, who is the lawyer for Ben's mother, who passed away a few months earlier. He tells them that they've actually got a property that now belongs to them on the Oregon coast. Ben knows nothing about it. We learn very, very quickly that his father passed away when he was before he was born, and that his mother was never really close in his life. She was in and out of institutions and things like that, so he was never really close to her. So they take the trip up to this property in Oregon, meaning to clean it up and then sell it for some quick cash. But while they're there, they start to discover some things that are not quite right. And that's where I like this film. I'm actually really, really being careful the way I talk about this film, because one of the things I love about what Scott Walker has done with this film is early on, you're not 100% sure what kind of horror film this is going to be. Now, I don't generally read synopsis of films before I watch them. I like to go into a film completely cold. So I will talk about the actual horror of this film, but for me, watching it on such a cold background to the film, I found that I was wondering whether this was going to go into the supernatural territory, or what kind of horror it was going to go down the road of. Was it going to be a ghost horror, whatever? It ends up being a creature feature, but this is a creature feature like none of the others that I've seen around at the moment. Like I said, it really sets up the story so well that you don't actually know what kind of horror it's going to go into for quite a while if you don't know that it's going to be a creature feature. I love the way the characters are set up. You can't help but like Ben, Jules, and Rhea before they even get to Oregon. Once they get to Oregon, I think you find that you get yourself even closer to them. And that's something that you don't often get in creature features. So many times I watch a creature feature horror and I find myself thinking, but I don't really care what happens to these characters. With this story, I did care what happened to these stories, because Scott Walker is a smart enough filmmaker to know how to make you feel for the characters at hand. I also love the fact that there's this tank at the back of the house that the kind of the horror revolves around. Due to a flashback at the very start of the film, you actually see that that's where Ben's father died. Not like the reports are saying that he died in the ocean. He actually died in and around this tank. So once Ben starts going down into this tank, you start to worry. First of all, I was thinking, well, is he going to find his father's body? And then you start to think, well, what was it that pulled him down there, kind of thing. But I really love that Scott Walker is a smart enough filmmaker to not reveal all the hands of the story early on. I think that draws the audience into this film in a way that, like I said, a lot of creature features don't. You're drawn right into this film. You want these characters to survive, and for a while you're even confused about what is actually going to happen to them. The creatures themselves, great inventions from the mind of Walker, I've got to say. They're believable. Like, there's no way that you watch this film and think, oh, that couldn't happen. It actually, you find yourself watching it thinking, well, that could actually kind of happen. And I think that makes it even creepier. Walker also gets some brilliant performances out of his cast as well. Matt Whelan is fantastic. Luciane Buchanan, she is a star in the making. She is absolutely brilliant in this film. And even young Zara Nussbaum, she is fantastic as well. Again, like I said, not like a lot of creature features I watch. The acting is absolutely atrocious. That is not the case here. As some of the other characters actually come into this film as well, including the real estate agent, that raises some more questions as well as they start talking about this land being cursed and things like that. But look, I really do think The Tank is going to be one of the most underrated films of this year. If you like a good horror, a good creature feature horror, you are going to absolutely love The Tank. It's on streaming platforms now, but seriously, I can't say how much I love this film. There's just something about it that I just can't wait even to go back and watch it again. Like, I watched it on my own the first time, and this is the kind of film I actually want to watch with friends and family. Like, I really, really liked it. So I'm going to give it 4 out of 5. It's available on streaming platforms now, so do a little search in an app like Just Watch or something like that, and you'll be able to find it. But I am giving The Tank 4 out of 5. Highly recommended.